Hold up. Wait a minute. Bruh. Did you hit the like button? Drop some rabbits in the chat. Let's go.
Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, chit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. If you want the tea, come see me. Rabbit hole is the place to be for real news, not fake news. Celebrity news, breaking news around the clock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock, I rock, I rock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock. Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, chit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. True crime is my specialty. Exposed in the industry. Unsolved mysteries. Sticking to reality. Fair use commentary. Talking about cults. Trying to get results. Exploring cults. Exploring. Researching. Debunking. Investigating. Being nosy. Super nosy. Being messy. Being shady. Rabbit hole news. That's me. The chick with ADHD. Unmedicated. But quite educated. Hit that like. Hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat. Chit chat. Hit that like. Hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Drop some rabbits. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Hit that like. Hit that like. Let's go. Let's go. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Good morning. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Ooh, the hair's sticking out. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody. Ooh, I love seeing all those little rabbits out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Hopefully notifications went out. They probably didn't, and that is okay because I kind of just scheduled this, and I kind of expected maybe notifications to be a little bit more delayed. Welcome, everybody. We live. Let me let the people know we live now. We live now. Welcome. All right, guys. So we definitely got some news to talk about. Today is Saturday, August 2nd. Oh my God. It is really August. Like the year is going to be done here pretty soon. How many more monthly errands? School starting up again for the kiddos. It feels like the summer went by, maybe because of the Diddy trial. My head is kind of like still on that a little bit. Ooh. Had to clear my throat. The year's almost over, right? Kids go back to school soon. Yeah, you got to go do all the back to school shopping stuff. I already done some of it, but I got to do a couple more things. It's just too crazy. It's too crazy. Everything it has flown by pretty quickly, I would say. And part of it, I think it's almost like, for me at least, because the Diddy trial started in May, June, and kind of like the first week of July, and July is done, and here we are, and new season is coming. The leaves are going to turn out different colors, and people are going to be on their pumpkin latte spice. I don't like pumpkin latte, I'll be honest with you. I know some of you guys do. I don't. Diddy makes the time fly. Well, it's just been the news one after another, right? Like Diddy does make the time fly by, but it seems like one piece of news after another one. No, not 145 days to Christmas. That's too much. Like, I'm sorry, y'all. Don't get me wrong, I like the Christmas season, but I get in a mood when it's a Christmas season because everybody gets me in that mood. And what I mean by that is I stay away from stores definitely before Thanksgiving, and then all the way up to New Year's. I try very hard to just stay away from stores, stay away from all of that. There is something to do with something about the way in which people act and do the most around that time. I really, really try to stay away from all that, but I'm just gonna say that. You said it's mingling. It's mingling. Yeah, it's there. You said I got to do all the school shopping this weekend. My oldest starts high school next week. Oh my God, that's exciting. Congratulations, Berlin. Shout out to you. High school is a whole different, eh, it's a whole different monster, when your kids start high school. Um, I have one that just finished. So I'm excited about that. He actually finished early, so I'm excited about that. Um, yeah, I mean, it was good to have my oldest finish early too, because it's too much going on in the schools right now. And he's kind of like ahead of his time to a certain degree, if that makes sense. There's a TikTok showing Christmas Mariah no, that's too soon. That's too soon. Thank you, Ronan. Thank you, Ronan. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's like, even though my child graduates, it's like I'm the one that's graduating. you know um my son has struggled. My oldest, he's actually done very good job in the last, well, overall, but he has struggled with academics the same way that I did when I was younger. Even though I turned out to like school later on in life more so than in high school and middle school, and that's because I moved around a lot, right? And I had a learning disability that I didn't really figure out until way later. Had I known about that, maybe I would have had a different outcome. But I did finish high school. I did graduate high school, but it was very difficult for me at that time. And my son, who, he's kind of like, he is very much ahead of his, how do I say this? I was the same way too, where it's like you have this old spirit about you. Does that make sense? That's kind of how he is. He's got this, like, he's still immature, right? Like, you're still immature, but you got this like old spirit about you. And it's kind of like you're kind of ahead of various people in that way. But yeah, that's how I feel. You said my youngest son starts school on Monday, 11th grade, too. Almost there. So you got your junior prom and then your senior prom and all those good stuff. No Christmas, can't be too soon, as it means will be my birthday, and I hate birthdays. Aw. Is your birthday in December too? Mine's in December. I wish it was in the summer. I'm an old soul. He's an old soul. Yeah, like an old soul type of situation. Wise beyond your ear. Yeah, wise beyond your years. And it takes you a minute, like, it's weird, but he's kind of like, and I'm like that too. When I was younger, when I was his age, I was very much wise before my years. And it was a clash of personalities. I just couldn't get along with people my age sometimes because of it. So yeah. So did the judge make a rulings in the newest bond request? Not that I know of. So we're gonna look into that. I don't see any rulings that have been made, even though people have said that his bail has been denied. No, not necessarily. The prosecutors did their filing, and the judge said something in the minute order. So we're gonna get to that in a minute. But anyways, let's get into the business that we're here today. Okay. So since we're talking about Diddy, let's go ahead and start right there. Let's talk about Diddy, and then we're going to talk about Rymir, and then we'll talk about Ghislaine in that situation that's happening right now. So with Diddy right now, okay. First of all, let's talk about this clip that went viral yesterday as it pertains to Diddy. I guess Trump was talking about Diddy yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was. I was not aware of this. I was made aware of this maybe yesterday. I logged off, had to go to the airport and do some stuff. He was asked whether he was going to be pardoning Diddy, and just listen to what Trump is saying. Okay, let's hit play.
What, they're still in jail or something, but he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
And it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
But
favoritism? I don't know. Now, let's be very real, okay? Because to a certain degree, some of you guys will say, I don't want Trump to pardon Diddy, and if that's whatever you guys land with that. But I never really thought that the reason why you would not pardon someone is because you were cool with them, but then you fell out because he said not so nice things. I think you have to say nice things in order for you to get pardoned. Am I hearing this correctly? They were cool with each other before the campaign, right? So here's my question. You better not run mouth. You can't run mouth, right? There you go. Diddy blew it. He talked shit about Trump. But I didn't know that was like, I will pardon you contingent upon you not running your mouth about me. I may not necessarily want Diddy to be pardoned. My opinion. You guys are entitled to your guys' opinion. But like, I didn't know there was a contingency piece to this, right? Like, you ran your mouth about me. Hold on, girl. Here. Therefore, you will not be pardoned. Good job. He can be bought. He's being honest. Always watch the Jonathan Nadi interview. So Jonathan Nadi will never be pardoned. Right? Yeah. Oh, see, there you go. How are you going to help somebody who turns on you for the sake of the party? Oh, this is the same man who will backtrack on stuff. Wow. I guess I won't be pardoned. Trump has Maxwell on his mind. ATM. Diddy ain't even an afterthought. I don't even think Trump is really thinking about Diddy, even though he was asked. But let's go.
More likely a no for Combs.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about George Santos? Sean Diddy Combs?
Right.
Would you consider pardoning him?
Well, he was essentially, I guess, sort of half innocent.
Yes.
I don't know what they do. He's still in jail or something, but he was celebrating a victory, but he seems, I guess it wasn't as good as a victory. Probably, I was very friendly with him. I got along with him great, and seemed like a nice guy. I didn't know him well. But when I ran for office, he was very hostile.
He said some not so nice things about you, sir.
And it's hard, like you, we're human beings.
Right.
And we don't like to have things cloud our judgment, right? But when you knew someone and you were fine, and then you run for office and he made some terrible statements. So I don't know, it's more difficult. It makes it more, I'm being honest, it makes it more difficult to do.
But
do you guys remember that episode? Now, I told you guys Celebrity Apprentice was like one of my favorite shows. I used to like Donald Trump when he was on those Celebrity Apprentice because I thought it was hilarious, in reality TV. So when Aubrey O'Day told him about Diddy, oh, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. To see this now, it's like, oh, okay. Guess he's not a great guy. All right, then. Anyways, so that is what happened with that situation. Now, one of the questions that we had, speaking of Diddy, since we're talking about Diddy, because we're on this topic, let's talk about this piece. Yesterday, we reviewed the documents for Diddy and all that other stuff, right? And there was a part of that document that was redacted. Do you guys remember that? This paragraph right here that Inner City Press has. This whole thing, we were wondering, and I'll read this paragraph again just to refresh people's memories. The paragraph was, I believe, in the second to the last page, okay? The defendant contends that he does not pose a danger because the trial record does not reflect acts of violence by the defendant between 2018, when he ended his relationship with Miss Ventura, and 2024, when he viciously assaulted Jane. As an initial matter, the defendant's violent attack of Jane and his year-long proclivity towards violence against Miss Ventura and others is more than sufficient to establish his dangerousness. But the defendant's suggestion that he went several years without inflicting violence on another person simply is not true. The defendant did engage in several acts of violence between 2018 to 2024. Then that whole piece right here is redacted. And we were speculating or not. Then there was like a footnote under that redaction that made absolutely no sense. But anyways, after the redaction, it says, although this evidence was not presented at trial, whatever was redacted was not presented at trial. Okay. Whatever was redacted was not presented at trial. The question is, why? Why is that? Why wasn't it presented at trial? Although this evidence was not presented at trial, the court is free to consider it in assessing defendant's dangerousness, and that's true. The judge could consider all the things, all the evidence, and anything else that he wants to when he's assessing and going about like what Diddy and his sentence is going to look like. Okay, so there is that. Now he further says, this is in the minute order from the court. This is July 31st. The judge writes, he has both of these. He's got the defense attorney's motions, and then he's got the prosecution's response to the defense attorney's motions. He's got them both on his desk. And he writes in the minute order, by August 4th, 2024, the government should further explain the need for redactions given the use of pseudonyms in the unredacted version of the letter. So order. Even the judge is like, why did you guys redact this? Even the judge is saying, why did you guys redact this? Because we were asking, we're like, what was that? What is that? Because, it leaves room for speculation, right? We want to know. There were things that were clearly had been talked about, but not necessarily disclosed. So this, even though it was we had the transcripts and everything that we did, there wasn't a whole lot for us to really like make out on certain areas. Some things we're just never going to go. You know what I mean? You said, I wish I could hire the best lawyer on earth. I F up, LOLs. Right. It's crazy. Unredacted for F's sakes, right? Needs to be unredacted. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's to protect the witnesses and everything. I mean, even Inner City Press says, does the judge endorse today's explain the need for redactions here given the use of pseudonyms in the unredacted version of the letter? Not yet. Thank you. You're going to have to wait. Means that even under the redaction, pseudonyms are used. Inner City Press on the case. Inner City Press is asking a lot of appropriate questions, as a lot of us have been. How many people are speculating? Do you think the redacted blacked out paragraph could be the government hiding evidence that helps the defense? Not necessarily. It's stuff about Gina, in my opinion. We speculated that it might have been stuff about Gina too. But I don't know. It's a lot of speculation that people are making. That's what's being speculated, if you know what I mean. But anyways, Unredacted says, oh my God, it's not mentioning Trump. No, it's not. Stop. Anyways, there's a lot of, we just don't know. We don't know what it could be. So we will find out, I guess. Leave it at that. Or maybe we won't. Who knows? Okay. So we're going to keep an eye out on that situation. Now let's talk about Rymir Satterwhite. I think I said his last name correctly. Thank God. Rymir. The alleged, at least he says, we don't know if that's a fact, right? He alleges to be Jay-Z's son, right? He said, I think we all know what happened to Gina. Yep. I keep asking this question to everybody. Like, is it his son? Is she just call it a day and do a paternity test? If he does a paternity test, then what? Should Rymir, if it's found out that it's not his son, should Rymir be made to pay any money? What do you guys think? Put it in the chat. Let me know. For those that don't know, this has been like, I think, a 10 or 11-year journey for Rymir, who alleges that that his mother, who is no longer here, had a relationship with Jay-Z. Mother was a minor. Said he doesn't look like Jay-Z. Oh my God, y'all are funny. Sorry, y'all. He said no, he shouldn't, because he could get in trouble. You said no. What? No, the guy just wants answers. You said, okay. Pay money for what? I don't know. If it's found out, say that Jay-Z gets ordered to do a paternity test. Let me ask you guys a question. And I'm looking ahead, right? Like I don't know the answer to this, but say that Jay-Z has to do a paternity test, and he does it, and then we find out that it's not Jay-Z's son. What then? What then? Do we just leave it alone? Does Rymir get to walk away with that, or what? Because I'm gonna tell you guys, okay? Let the boy get answers, okay? Just the paternity test and be done with it, or the scary statutory charge. Well, what, Marshy? I think you changed your name. What if he does the paternity test and we find out that it's not his son? Then what? What happens? What if it's not his son? I'm just asking the question. Should Rymir will know the truth? Okay, well, Rymir will know the truth, but Jay-Z is petty, right? Like, then they both walk away. Well, could Jay-Z go after Rymir for accusing him of making this allegation of him being his father? Like, I wonder. He can't be charged as the mother's deceased. He can't. But it would. That's an interesting point. Could he be charged if the mother's deceased? Because the mother would be the victim, right? Cheeks. Just a question. He gets the truth. Rymir needs to know the truth. Okay. All right. So let's get into this article, okay? You said if he's not his son, then it's fine, and no, Jay cannot go after him. That's right. Let's get into this. So Jay-Z fails to secure legal fees from alleged son who dropped paternity suit. Now, he dropped the paternity suit. Keep that in mind. Rymir did. While these Jay-Z allegations have been around since at least 2010, a lawsuit is no more. Rymir Satterwhite said he's not done here. Jay-Z had a few big legal wins, a few big legal battles as late that kept him busy. Even their dismissal in some cases can't fully work out in his favor. In the case dropped paternity lawsuit against him from a man named Rymir Satterwhite, he will still have to cough up cash in the legal process. According to All Hip Hop, Jay-Z's legal team requests the judge in their case to make Satterwhite cover their legal fees. This is because he dropped the lawsuit claiming that he is the rapper's son. However, the judge denied this request because the defense attorneys did not explain why Rymir should pay for their efforts. Instead, the judge gave the team 30 days to provide a strong argument. So we'll see how that pans out. So a bit of a win, maybe. You said Rymir is not done. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't think he is. I think he just dropped. I don't know why he dropped it though. I am kind of curious about why he dropped it if he's not done. It further goes. I have not stopped my fight, Rymir remarked on social media. I did withdraw my case, but it's for a reason. I have not gotten a settlement. It's not over. We'll see whether this translates to more legal action or other methods of making long-standing accusations. Okay? But in this case of alleged paternity, nothing in the form of hard evidence or litigation proves these accusations. So take them with a grain of salt. Now that the plaintiff dismissed the lawsuit, this might turn into a media venture rather than a court battle. Despite all these big legal obstacles, Jay-Z is trying to live his best life. A fan recently randomly spotted him riding a bike around town, a rare sight for a billionaire. The Brooklyn MC is no stranger to fitness, lifestyle, and he keeps all sorts of distractions these days. Amid Jay-Z's other big moves, his legal conflict took over the headlines in a more fiery ways. It also followed that another dismissed lawsuit accusing him of SA, the alleged connection to Diddy's scandal. But the allegations against Jay did not hold up in court. In fact, that's the subject of another legal battle with lawyer Tony Busby concerning defamation. So there's a lot of baggage to unpack and accusations to scrutinize. I don't know if we're any closer to any of this. Now, the legal paperwork, let's see if I can show it to you guys. I mean, I don't know how close we are to any of this. I'll be honest with you. Where'd it go? Is it this one? I lost my bookmarks. Okay. Is this it? Shout out to Diddy Docket. Rymir versus Sean Corey Carter. The proceedings, the court is in receipt of the notice of withdrawal filed by plaintiff. According to the notice of withdrawal, plaintiff is withdrawing his complaint. Given the notice of withdrawal, the court hereby denies the motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction as moot, vacates the hearing. In defense's response, in support of the motion to dismiss of lack of jurisdiction, he requests that the court award him fees and costs without providing any factual or legal support for the request. The court therefore denies the request without prejudice to defendant properly filing a motion for attorney fees within 30 days. If the defendant does not file a motion for attorney fees within 30 days, the court will close the case without further notice to the parties. Thank you. You didn't get notification. I think a lot of people didn't get notified. Thank you. Would it endear people if he did a test and accepted responsibility? I don't know. What do you guys think? I see you watching me watching you. I don't know. So there is that. I mean, have the Barbs seen this? They will be all over the place like they won a lottery. That's still his son, and the truth about Jay and his dirty dealings will come to the light one way or another. This is what people are saying. So let me get this straight. Somebody says you accuse a man of shooting you, then ask him to help with a lawsuit against someone you claim to be paid by him to spread lights about you. Give me one sec, y'all. Hold up, y'all. Anyways, so the latest statute of limitations is 23 years, 5 years after assault, or 5 years after the minor turns 18. Interesting. What about if they die? What about if they die? It's a lot of questions. It's a lot of questions. They further said when he unsurprisingly doesn't comply the way you want him to, you cry to the judge and get him to order to pay your legal fees and do another deposition. Is that really how a victim acts, or is this a behavior of someone who's obsessed? Lord have mercy. They're coming for him. And of course, all of this with the situation with Jay-Z, it intertwines with Tory Lanez, with a bunch of other things. And I have a lot of questions about it. He said, I give Jay-Z more credibility if at least he tried to care. Rabbit, can you do a poll? A poll about what, though? I see you watching me watching you. What do you want me to do a poll about? I'm confused. Baby Bunny's laughing. You said the decedent's estate still exists after one dies. It's true. I don't know. I think SA is different. I think SA is different because it's a crime. But she's not here to say that. What do we know about Rymir's mom? Like, what has she publicly said? Has she said that's, I'm confused. Maybe I don't really know this part. Maybe it's already been asked, but if you guys have been following that part, do you guys know, based on what Rymir has said, did she pinpoint him to Jay-Z being his dad? It's not the lack of like, we can't do a paternity test, but it does kind of make you wonder, well, what got us there? Was it just a picture? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. about this. Ha 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 ha. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button. I read that I think it was the sister or the cousin that said the mom had lied about her age. Oh, there's different versions of this situation, yo. Yes, she did, and she petitioned him for a DNA too. She may have signed an NDA, and if it's a crime, those don't hold. A good attorney will see these signs either way, right? I don't know if it I even if it is, at least civilly, I mean, there's nothing that they can do criminally, right? It's a lot of questions. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, there's a lot of mystery to this. So then what happens next? I don't know. I don't know what happens next. I guess we'll see. But this is what's going on. So Jay-Z's gonna have to figure out the legal fees out of this situation. And I mean, that's the risk that you run too when you sue like names like that. But I think the man deserves to know the truth. Um, you know, I think he does. This is my opinion. But let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think. What are you laughing about, girl? Let me know what you guys think. Okay, hold up, y'all. Now, we got to talk, man. So yesterday the news dropped. New York did change the law so they can go no matter how far in certain situations. Oh, Ronan. That's all they have though, is that they look alike, right? Kind of a hard call to say somebody looks like somebody. You said not her. Shout out to the people in Texas. Y'all are getting a new resident. Give me one sec, guys. Sorry about that. They love sending the worst over here in Texas. Sorry about that, guys. I had to step out. Okay, guys. So let's talk. It's a lot of stuff that happened yesterday. I mean, a lot of us were very, very hyphy during the time we were hearing this news. Oversight Committee halts Ghislaine Maxwell's deposition. Listen to this piece of news.
Right back into your headlines here, as Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, has been transferred to an all-female minimum security federal prison camp in Texas 10 days before she was expected to be called to testify before Congress. Maxwell is currently serving out a 20-year prison sentence after being convicted of sex trafficking minors. She was previously housed at a low-security facility in Tallahassee, Florida, one that included both men and women. That's where just a little more than a week ago, U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche interviewed her for several hours over a 2-day period. Prison officials confirming Maxwell is now in that prison camp in Bryan, Texas, and you see it right there on your screen.
Here's my question. And we have yet to really understand, why was she sent there in the first place? Why was she sent there in the first place? Have we figured that out yet? Why was she sent there in the first place? I have yet to read a source that tells me why she was from Florida all the way to like, what happened here? If she felt worried about safety, how does this? I mean, it's less security, right? No, you're right. I know why. But I mean, do we even have did any of these officials even speak out about why this happened, or they just kind of let it happen? But why was she sent here? Why was she put in a lower facility? We have yet to hear from any of these officials to they haven't said anything. They haven't publicly spoken on it. This happened right under our nose yesterday, but okay.
All of this as the controversy continues over the potential release of the Epstein files and questions over whether Maxwell would be granted some type of immunity or even a pardon in exchange for testimony. And it's important to note that the House Oversight Chair has now announced that that August 11th testimony is not going to happen. It is postponed, quote unquote, indefinitely. A lot to discuss, so I do want to bring in Spencer Kuven, the chief legal officer of Gold Law. He represented 9 of Jeffrey Epstein's victims, including the first victim, that is victim number 1. Spencer, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on Live Now from Fox.
Thank you for having me this morning. I appreciate it.
Of course. And first off, a lot of people were posting all over social media just yesterday as that announcement was made that Ghislaine Maxwell had been moved from the facility in Florida over to one in Texas. What went through your mind when you first heard that?
Well, I'm not surprised. Inmates like this, and I've taken the deposition of numerous sex traffickers that have been in jail. In fact, one just the other week. They are not required to speak with authorities at that point. They can basically tell authorities, forget it. I don't want to talk to you. Go away. So there had to be some kind of a cookie, some kind of a positive there on her behalf that she could negotiate for in order to be able to give that interview. So the likelihood is that this deal about the transfer to a cushier and nicer facility was probably pre-struck even before the interview took place. And it was a quid pro quo. If she talks to the DOJ again, then
All right, keep that. Take notes. Although some of us shouldn't be really surprised by this, but okay.
The DOJ agrees that we'll transfer her to a nicer facility. Now we just need to learn what she said.
And what's interesting is we did learn from Representative Comer here with the House Oversight Committee that essentially that testimony that we've been hearing a lot about over the past couple weeks here is not going to happen, despite that subpoena being issued for August 11th. Not going to happen. It's postponed, quote unquote, indefinitely. We know that Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney put out a statement initially saying that she wanted some type of immunity there, and Comer responded and said that's not going to happen. So what role do you think that all of that played? And do you think we're actually going to see any sort of congressional testimony from Maxwell at any point?
Well, it's frustrating. Obviously we want to be able to see what she has to say, but someone who is asking and demanding for immunity is someone who's committed numerous crimes and doesn't want to be prosecuted for them. So obviously she's a criminal. She's also a convicted liar. So anything she has to say should be taken very suspect. What I really want to see, and what I know the victims want to see, is the surveillance video.
Everything that she says should be suspect. Look. I don't know, man.
See all of the files, all of the video that the DOJ has in its custody and the FBI has in its possession, over 1,000 hours of videotape. Release the video. The president could sign an executive order requesting the DOJ or demanding the DOJ release that information tomorrow. The documented evidence, the videotapes taken inside the mansions in Palm Beach and New York and the Virgin Islands, that's evidence. That can't lie. A picture and a video tell 1,000 words, and that's what we want to see.
One thing that's interesting has been this discussion about immunity or a pardon. We know that we heard from Maxwell's attorney right after that meeting with Deputy U.S. Attorney General, I should say, Blanche. Now, after that meeting, he was asked, the attorney, if he did have any sort of plans to ask for a pardon, and he said, quote unquote, not yet. Do you think that Ghislaine Maxwell being granted any kind of pardon is an actual reality? Is it a realistic possibility?
I mean, I certainly hope not, right? Because the victims have already been through frustrating actions by the U.S. government, as well as the state attorney here in Palm Beach, between the sweetheart deal that was cut with Epstein, letting him die in jail, and now the theory that they may pardon the one person that they put on trial and convicted. It would be an atrocity.
He said letting them die in jail. Letting him die in jail. Okay. It's almost like they let him die. All right.
At the end of the day. Having said that, you know, look, I could see where if she was to give evidence and to testify about other individuals, people that were perpetrators that could be prosecuted, then that could lead to what's called a commutation, which may be a couple of years shaved off of her sentence. But a full pardon, she should never be pardoned under any circumstance.
Are your clients still hopeful that at some point we will see maybe more prosecutions, more charges that are issued in this whole situation here? Obviously, we're talking years and years later, but are they still remaining hopeful there?
The victims are always hopeful. They just keep getting frustrated by the federal government. That's the problem. But yes, I mean, since the beginning, we have always said that there are co-conspirators that have been involved in this entire process. Epstein was not a man acting alone. He had Ghislaine Maxwell at his side, but he also had numerous others that were involved in this conspiracy that need to be held to account. You know, justice needs to be had for all of the people that were involved in this, because if there's no accountability, this is going to happen again with another rich and famous and wealthy individual, unfortunately.
One thing that I've asked you in the past, and I want to ask you again here, a lot of people have their own thoughts about exactly what happened here, the case itself. They see a lot of information and really disinformation that's swirling around on social media and on various media websites. Is there any sort of misconception, misunderstanding that you want to clarify for folks out there who are watching about all of this?
I think that if there was any potential misunderstanding that I've seen in the media or in social media recently, is this concept of Ghislaine being some kind of a victim as well of Epstein. She was no victim. This is a woman that sought out and hunted young girls on the street, would literally pull over cars and walk up to them to convince them to come to Epstein's mansion.
That's what she was doing. They're literally rewriting the narrative of who Ghislaine was. And that's the sad part. We're watching it happen. Like Vic said, this is like the biggest cover up happening right in front of our eyes. We're watching it happen, and we're watching people rewrite the narratives of what this woman is. This is just so scary to me. It's happening. She's not a victim. She's not a victim. She wasn't. I'm sorry. She was an adult when she was in this relationship with Epstein. Okay. Sorry, she made a choice. Then she left that relationship and then continued to stay friends with him and continued to recruit women for him. Yeah, well aware of what the hell was going on.
She was involved directly in some of the sex trafficking and the sexploitation of victims that I've represented. So she is by no means a victim. She is a perpetrator, and she belongs behind bars where she is for a very long time.
All right, Spencer, thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to join us and help break it all down. Obviously, a lot to discuss here, so I'm sure we'll have you on again very soon. Anything else that you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
We want to see the video. That is the absolute end all. We want to see the videotapes. That's what the victims want, and we need the public to be clamoring for that at every step.
The video.
All right, thank you again, Spencer, for
the videotapes. Y'all see that? We want to see the videotapes. Let me close this. Okay, I'm sharing that. Hold up. Just want to make sure that nothing else starts out. Can't make this up, you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you. Let's watch this, because again, this is all just kind of up-to-date stuff that's happening in real time.
The president has seen the Jeffrey Epstein story continue to boil, in part with his own help. This latest development only added yet more fuel. We learned that his accomplice, who is serving a 20-year sentence for conspiring in the trafficking of girls as young as 14, just got her prison accommodations upgraded. Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted co-conspirator in the most notorious child sex trafficking case on modern record, has been transferred to a federal minimum security prison in Texas, a facility that typically, according to one former FBI agent I spoke to, does not even house sex offenders without a special waiver. This is happening with the Justice Department in talks to secure some kind of cooperation.
Wait, the facility doesn't even house SOs without a waiver? So do you mean they made like special permission for her in Bryan, Texas? for this facility. You see how far they went to do this, y'all? Okay.
From Maxwell, and the president not ruling out pardoning her. And of course, growing pressure on the administration from both Democratic and Republican lawmakers and voters to release more from the investigation of Epstein, who was, after all, once a close friend of the president. And on top of that, the president's shifting account all week of his break with Epstein. Today, the family of Epstein accuser Ghislaine Maxwell, along with other accusers, Virginia Giuffre, reacted to the latest development, saying in a statement, quote, "It is with horror and outrage that we object to the preferential treatment convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has received. Ghislaine Maxwell is a sexual predator who physically assaulted minor children on multiple occasions, and she should never be shown any leniency." For more on this, we're joined by investigative journalist Sarah Fitzpatrick, who's been reporting on the story for a long time for The Atlantic. Also, defense attorney and former federal prosecutor Shan Wu. Good to have you both here on a Friday night. Shan, first to you. Under normal circumstances, how would a person qualify for move?
Hold up. So Elizabeth Holmes, Belen, Elizabeth Holmes is in this facility too? Oh, you can't make this up. That's crazy.
Movement to a lower security facility. What conditions or circumstances would they have to meet?
I think we have to start with the point that most convicted sex offenders wouldn't qualify for this extremely low level. I mean, they can have a low level minimum security, but this is a camp. It's like the lowest level meant for white collar people who are considered to be no danger to folks. Having said that, for this type of a change to occur, there usually has to be some extenuating reasons. For example, let's say there's a medical reason you need to move them to a facility with a hospital or a place where they're doing special treatment for sex offenders. None of those seem to apply here. I suppose you might also, if someone had been incarcerated for many years, exemplary record, that's why it justifies that. Again, there's no such situation here. And so there's nothing that's stopping the Bureau of Prisons or the Justice Department from explaining why this happened. There's no security risk to say we did this for medical reasons, some family reason, but not explaining that really raises a lot of questions. And normally this would not happen.
Sarah, we read that statement, of course, from the Giuffre family, as well as other Epstein and Maxwell victims. Can you tell us what you've been hearing from the victims and victims' relatives as they take in this news?
Jim, you cannot overstate what a explosive and just kind of earth-shattering development this is for so many victims. My phone has been ringing off the hook all day today, not just victims, but also from members of law enforcement who either worked on this case or have, followed this case closely, because it is just, it is so unbelievable to them, the timing. It just looks and suggests that there may be some kind of deal made in the last couple of days. And the statement that the Giuffre family said today was so clear. It was shocking to me, actually, how strong it was. They said this smacks of a cover-up. And I think the major thing that all of these victims, members of law enforcement, even just people of the general public who have such an interest in this case, it is the reason that this is so incredible is that it speaks to the very thing that makes the Epstein case such an issue of national importance. And that's the fact that the evidence suggests, laid out that we have learned through lots of testimony, through interviews and other things, that there were different standards of justice for people who had power and means. And that
now let me tell you guys, let me show you guys something else, right? So take it for what it's worth. I'm not a fan of the Daily Beast, right? MAGA host says Ghislaine Maxwell may be innocent. There's something else going on here, and it's injustice. Newsmax host Greg Kelly said. Let's see what Greg Kelly said. Hold up. I'm kind of curious.
Well, Ghislaine Maxwell didn't have a friend in the world. He could have easily gotten away with saying, what the media wanted to hear. But he didn't. And I find that remarkably human, and it's telling. And it signals to me that there's something else going on here and that it's an injustice. It reminds me of when President Trump, among anybody in the country really in public office, he would talk about Ashley Babbitt. Do you remember that? And he gained nothing, really, politically, from talking about that. I mean, he scored points with me and those who know the truth about Ashley Babbitt, but there are a lot of folks, Republicans even, a lot of folks did not want to talk about January 6th. He did. He did. It reminds me of the kind of this, has the same feel. Ghislaine Maxwell, he would talk about, and he did it in a certain way. Now, folks, I know people are horrified when I say there's a possibility that this individual just might be innocent. But think about it. Who's told us about her? The most reviled institutions in America, right?
She's innocent. That's what y'all, please note how they're changing the narrative, okay? They're changing the narrative. She is innocent. She's innocent, okay?
The media and the Biden Justice Department, right? They did the heavy lifting on this stuff.
I itch just even listening to that guy. So somehow they're trying to, I'm just letting you know that they're squaring
There's
away.
only so many fucks to give. And I just don't have.
There's only so many fucks to give. I would agree. Okay. They are fixing this. Okay. Just so everybody's aware and people are aware how they're fixing this. Okay. They're fixing it so that people change the narrative to this tune. I just want this to be well documented how they're changing it. Ghislaine Maxwell might be innocent. That's what they're saying. Okay.
That's why this story even has taken on this conspiracy theory level online across the internet, because it has this stickiness, and that point was just underscored in the events today. So I would say the victims and others involved in this case, they are distraught and they feel that something is very amiss here.
So Shan Wu, you have the timing of this move to a lower security prison. You also have, at a minimum, the unconventional talks between the president's deputy attorney general and a woman who's been convicted and is now serving 20 years for horrible, horrible crimes. And you have attached to that the president's Justice Department's decision not to release files that he long said he would release. So when you add those things together, does that legally seem inappropriate to you?
It does seem inappropriate in this sense in particular, Jim, which is it's utterly in disarray. It's unprofessional. It's not how you would conduct an investigation. There are many situations where someone who is giving valuable information as a cooperator, they may get little perks. They get more phone calls, maybe more access to the computer. There's no indication here that they're getting.
Sylvia says, that's why Tweety always survived from Sylvester. He was always snitching on him. Remember that. There you go. Whenever you could. You can't make this shit up, Miami. They're changing the narrative right in front of us. I want people to remember that. I think it's important to know.
Getting anything valuable, and one wonders what could possibly be valuable at this point. I mean, her testimony would be so biased, so discredited. Yeah. Not only that, you factor in the idea that the deputy attorney general is conducting the interview. It's really unheard of. Why not have the agents who worked on the case, the prosecutors who really know the case, see if there's something else that can be valuable? This simply sounds like they're playing some FaceTime to her. We'll have the deputy AG come in who never does interviews like this. And then when you add in the timing, we're going to give you a nicer, cushier kind of place to be in jail. It seems like they want to entice her into doing something that's helpful to them, but really there can't be anything of substance that's of value coming from her at this point.
Sarah, of course, many of the president's supporters, and at times the president himself, promised that they were going to be transparent where previous administrations were not, that they were finally going to release all the files that showed how far and wide Epstein's and Maxwell's crimes went. Now you have the president reversing that, it seems. And I wonder, do family members, victims, friends, relatives, etc., look at this as a betrayal?
Absolutely. I mean, I think everyone was willing to on a bipartisan basis. Of course, remember, there are over 1,000 Epstein victims. So this is a really wide group. And that's just that we know of, that the Justice Department has acknowledged. It is likely many times that. But I think it's important that this is, you know, these victims viewed this not as a political football, which this has kind of become in recent weeks. For them, this is about accountability and justice. And that's important for two reasons. One, Epstein, we know through our reporting and all of the evidence that has been presented in court as well as civil litigation, that this was an extensive sex trafficking operation that involved a lot of people, including some mandatory reporters, doctors, other people that would have been required to speak out about what was happening. And so those people have not yet been held accountable in any meaningful way. And secondly, all of the victims, and especially Virginia, who, you know, I was in touch with right up until she died, it was so important to her that what came out of this horrific experience was changes in legislation, changes in rules about how law enforcement talks to victims, that they have to be informed before certain things happen. None of the victims today have been informed about the facts that Maxwell was moved.
Ooh, so they weren't even made aware of, right? I mean, isn't that also part of the process? But again, the process doesn't matter anymore. We're making up our own rules now. I hope everybody's aware of that. There is no process. None of that matters. This our opinions, our voices don't matter anymore.
Got another disgusting update for you here today. It has just been reported that Maxwell is being moved to a minimum security prison in Texas with no explanation for why. And there are no answers for any of the questions people have about this, but the timing is very suspicious considering she just started cooperating with the DOJ behind closed doors, which again, there is no transparency with in regards to anything that was talked about there. Now she's mysteriously just being pushed into a very, very minimum security prison, which is it's a camp, by the way. It's a minimum security prison camp where it is usually reserved for non-violent, like white-collar criminals, shit like fraud. And now she's enjoying,
like Theranos. You guys said in the chat. I didn't even know Theranos was there. The Elizabeth Holmes. You know, I'm trying to figure out whose hair is longer. Is it my hair or his hair? I think his hair might be a little bit longer than mine. I have to see. What do y'all think? I mean, mine kind of goes past. Mine's pretty long.
A cozy stay there. Now, her previous spot was also like on the lower end of prisons. It wasn't exactly like Azkaban they had her held up in, but there were still serious offenders in there, and it wasn't nearly as lax as the place she has just been moved to in Texas, seemingly out of nowhere.
The move comes a week after Maxwell met in private with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche at the U.S. Attorney's office in Tallahassee. The details of that meeting have not been made public. It also comes after the family of one of Maxwell's alleged victims, Virginia Giuffre, spoke to our own Hallie Jackson, urging the president not to pardon Maxwell.
Isn't that just fucking preposterous that the family of one of the victims has to come forward and beg the president to not pardon a convicted child sex trafficker who was a co-conspirator to the biggest pedophile and sex trafficker in this country's history? Because there's a very real possibility that it's something he's considered because he keeps fucking teasing it, him and his administration.
The big question here is, do we know why Maxwell was moved?
It is the big question, Zinkley. And the United States Department of Justice spokespeople are refusing to provide any answer or comment this afternoon. We have called them, we have texted them, we have emailed them.
They're staying extremely tight-lipped around the reasoning with this sudden move. It's very suspicious. I think anybody that's activating neurons should be able to tell you that something smells very fishy here. Instead of releasing
anybody activating neurons, that's everybody, you guys. I think whichever side you stand on, like, I think we all know that this is just so suspect in general.
It's in the Epstein files, which it seems like is never going to happen here, which has gone through the craziest song and dance. It's been like 10 seasons worth of plot twists in regards to that from this administration. First, they're going to release them day one when Trump's in office. Next, they're coming. Next, they're on Pam Bondi's desk. Next, turns out it was a figment of everyone's imagination. It was a made-up boogeyman. Everyone just fucking, ayahuasca tripped and envisioned these files, but they were never actually real. No such thing as the Epstein files. Then, no, the Epstein files are real, but they're a Democrat hoax. Next, the files are compromised, so instead we're going to Maxwell directly to get all the names and dangling a pardon in front of her face.
His timeline is so accurate. It does this. It's like a next and next and next, and it just keeps going and going.
Now, all of this happening behind closed doors, by the way, this conversation with Maxwell, whom I imagine will be squealing and singing any names that the administration wants her to, omitting the ones they don't want her to say and saying whatever names they'd like to put in her mouth. And now, all of a sudden, she's just being transferred to a very minimum security prison that sounds almost like a summer camp that also has another celebrity resident there, Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos. You remember that huge scam? This is one of those like cozy, bougie prisons where like the rich elite get privileged to go to
a facility that, frankly, and you can look at it on Google Earth, the fence line is the type of fence that you would put around a school. In many places, there's no razor wire. There's not a fence that would be difficult to climb.
I don't understand. The word bougie and prison should never be in the same sentence, but okay.
The gates of it look more like the gates of a country club than they do of a federal prison. So this is one of the camps that people like to go to. It's all women. So we do have a response from several of the victims saying today, President Trump has sent a clear message today. Pedophiles deserve preferential treatment and their victims do not matter. That's coming from Annie Farmer, Maria Farmer, and the family of Virginia Roberts Giuffre.
Yeah.
Now, let me stop right here because I do think this is an important part. And somebody, I posted this on we talked about this yesterday, and I posted this on my community tab. And I have to tell you guys that some of the response and the comments that I got was very, very interesting. Let me see if I can go to it right now. Hold up. View your channel. Let's go to posts. So I posted. Okay, give me a second. That's what I posted yesterday on Lawrence Taylor. We were talking about Lawrence Taylor yesterday during our live, right? And we went off on Lawrence Taylor because at the same time we found out about Ghislaine's move. Lawrence Taylor is a Hall of Fame NFL player who faced several criminal charges and legal issues throughout his life, both during and after his playing career. One of those charges, he's an actual registered child SO, okay? And he's recently been appointed to lead a youth panel, a youth fitness panel. He was invited to the White House. Lawrence Taylor, this was, I think, 2 days ago, actually on the 1st or the 31st. Lawrence Taylor was invited to the White House, and he was able to kind of give a couple words here and there. And he is basically has been appointed on a panel for youth fitness while he's sitting on criminal charges of perpetrating on a 16-year-old girl who was an ST victim at the time. The girl lied about her age. He got caught up. And then in addition to that, right, let's be very clear. He failed twice to report an address change, because when you're a registered SO, you're supposed to report your address change. Okay. So again, I want to remind people that this ST behavior, these SO type of behaviors, is being normalized. Okay. It used to be before that, if you are an SO or registered SO, you can't be getting jobs around children, let alone lead anything pertaining to children. Not in this case. I don't know if they oversaw this or what, but they didn't really give a shit. And so then I posted this yesterday. And people in the comments, let me tell y'all what people said. Like, some people were like, hold up. Oh my, in my tarot terms, okay, wait, let me read this. Nothing to see here. Look over here. The year of the truth sounds reasonable considering the source of decision making. Shake my head. When will we wake up? That's what people are asking. Says, I want out of this circus. Okay, move me to Mars. Can you give me a minute? Thank you. Okay. It's starting to feel like they want all of the PD files moved in. They say Epstein was just a hoax. They want to pardon all of them. That's what it's looking like to me. But there were some people, like somebody said in the chat, was he convicted though? Was it crimes against children? Proof of any SO or not just accusations? And I don't think this person read the comment that I left there, but he's a convicted registered SO. While I'm not victim bashing, I'm also mature enough to know people make up lies on people too for the smallest of reasons. But if no proof, why not let the man live? But if he was guilty, I'll be the first to speak out against it. And people had a lot to say to what she was saying. Like, I guess you haven't read the Google post. If he says he violated a 16-year-old child. I mean, why would anybody be okay with that? She says, I saw that on the ad. I asked if he was convicted, pled guilty. Yes, he pled guilty. I don't know, convicted, guilty. So those are all kind of in the realm. So I really don't know where the confusion lies there. But we fall in this like circus of trying to like make excuses for, number one, somebody we don't know, right? Like we don't know, but also bypass these charges. Okay. It's a lot of mental gymnastics that we're trying to make out of that. Typically when somebody's convicted, there's a lot to that, right? Like look into it, do your research type of situation. Do people lie? Yes. But this is a 16-year-old girl that found herself in a ST ring. And this man, who's a former NFL player, found himself in that situation. So then 2025, moving forward, he's up there in the White House. He's appointed to a youth panel with these SO charges. They couldn't find anybody else in the NFL. I asked this yesterday. I said, wait a minute. All these NFL players out there that could definitely take the place of Mr. Lawrence Taylor. Nobody to lead a youth panel for fitness? You can't make this up, you guys. You can't. I refuse to argue. When I heard this happened yesterday. Now, all these scandals that are happening at the White House, they couldn't, are they not doing research for the president? Are they not saying, well, listen, yes, Lawrence Taylor might have supported your campaign around this time, but let me tell you what's going on. This is a scandal going behind him, and you got this Epstein stuff going. Does this make sense? It's like it's happening right in front of us. That's crazy. It's a distraction. It's something. So I had to show you guys that piece. I remind you guys again, just read the comments to some of the posts that I make. And, you know, and I don't typically respond because I'm like, oh, how do I respond to this? But like, I'm not willy-nilly accusing a man of doing something that has not been convicted. Like he's been convicted. Like that's it. There's nothing else to it.
Yeah, it really does seem that way, huh? It's very weird, so peculiar how Trump is so buddy-buddy and cozy with so many pedophiles, and even just last night proudly presented and brought aboard a registered sex offender to be part of the sports commission that will be overseeing things like the youth presidential fitness test, which is being brought back.
We mentioned this yesterday. This is what I'm just talking about. Y'all, it's not making sense.
You want to say a few words? Come on up. Come on. He's a little shy, but once he gets going, nobody can stop.
Oh, no, that don't stop. I'm just proud to be on this team. I don't know why. I don't know what we're supposed to be doing, but I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve you. Okay, so I'm going to do the best I can for as long as I can. Thank you very much.
Nobody like him.
If you know anything about football, you probably recognized who that was immediately. That's Lawrence Taylor. He is a Hall of Famer, probably still to date the hardest tackler in NFL history. But Lawrence Taylor is a registered sex offender. In 2011, he pled guilty to sexual misconduct with a 16-year-old who was trafficked, by the way, and has since been on the sex offenders registry.
And he failed to register his address twice, by the way, within the 5-year span. 2021, 2024. We read these charges yesterday. This is where I lost my shit yesterday. I said, wait a minute. So we are bypassing these laws. Okay? This is why I asked you guys. I said, guys, we couldn't find any other NFL player to take up this panel for youth. This man can't even live near a school. We call this out yesterday. Countless DUIs. The guy has a problem, clearly. Rehabilitation, whatever that may look like. But we have to, like, where do we draw the line? When do we take this stuff serious? That's the question that I was asking yesterday. And I'm glad that Moist made a video about this too, because it's a much bigger platform, bigger voice and stuff. But I lost my shit yesterday live when we were reading this. Because it's just too much.
who is registered as a level 1 offender, and some people are actually using this as a defense of him. Like, it's not that big of a deal. He's just a level 1 sex offender, which is crazy, but that's the times we're living in right now.
Yeah, put your kids around a level 1 SO offender. Justify that shit. Oh, you better believe. I have children. I know some of you guys have children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews. Have somebody tell you, don't worry, it's just a level 1. Don't worry. What? These charges used to mean something. They don't anymore. We've normalized this behavior, right?
The absolute lunatics running wild outside of fucking Arkham Asylum. They're now just in society here with us. Anyway, though, the facts are he pled guilty to 1 count of soliciting a prostitute and a 2nd count of sexual misconduct and having sex with a woman without consent since the victim was 16. Under oath, he admitted to having sex with a 16-year-old, but claimed that she had told him she was 19, so he believed she was of the age of consent. Now, I don't know about all you lovely people out there. I'm not trying to put farts in your butthole here, but I'm going to go ahead and maybe be a little brave here. This might be, just a spicy hot take, but I'm going to let it rip anyway. I don't think a registered sex offender who has openly admitted to having sex with a sex-trafficked individual he thought was of the age of consent but was actually a child is really the best fit for the Presidential Sporting Commission here that will be overseeing activities for children. Now, maybe it's just me with those crazy thoughts, though. Maybe that's the problem, actually.
I mean, we couldn't put 1 and 2 together, right? Okay.
I'm not open-minded enough to see why this is actually such a galaxy brain good idea. Because there's a lot of people defending it. Like, how's Trump supposed to know? This was 14 years ago. It's ancient history. What's the big deal? And then people just excusing it like, oh, it happened so long.
It's the fucking president. You mean to tell me he doesn't have any? He's got the whole DOJ there. Nobody can do a background check? Nobody, hey, you might not want, did you know that this is what he did back in this time? And this is what, and then he's failed to register his stuff? Yeah, okay, all right, okay. I mean, because he doesn't have resources at his disposal, but okay.
Going, Trump is such a busy man, there's no way you could have possibly known about this history with Lawrence Taylor. Like, what the fuck, man? It's a sex offenders registry. It's public knowledge. All of Lawrence Taylor's neighbors know it. How could the White House not know it before hiring him to bring him on board for this sporting commission? Do they not do any homework on the people they hire?
No, people like to make excuses for this bullshit. No.
There's no vetting process whatsoever. They just hire anybody randomly. I mean, actually, that's probably exactly how it goes. Because even Lawrence Taylor, when Trump, babies him up there, Trump talks to him like he's talking to, an actual 4-year-old, by the way, like, oh, do you want to come say something? Come on. And then, rubs his back. Come on, say something. Which is super weird in and of itself, by the way. But when Lawrence Taylor does talk, he's like, don't really know why I'm here. Don't really know what we're supposed to be doing. But I'm happy to be here. So he doesn't even know what the fuck he's doing there. Why is he hired?
Exactly.
That is, the perfect encapsulation of this whole administration.
Ain't that weird the way he brought him in? It's all good. I'm like, he's kind of shy. What? You're at the White House.
What he said, don't really know why I'm here and I don't know what I'm doing. That is exactly what the fuck is happening right now. Everything from the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files and all of the circus shit that has followed. It is unbelievable. And it somehow just keeps getting worse. Just stew on this. Really just fucking sit and spin on this preposterous shit that we are seeing here. It is not normal. It is not okay. Nope. It actually seems like this administration is trying to normalize pedophilia. It literally does seem that way. He just added.
What the hell is that, guys? Then we got the Epstein stuff. Then we got people switching up the narrative about Ghislaine. What are we doing? Y'all seeing this play out right here? Right in front of us? These charges used to mean something. I don't know if they mean anything anymore.
A sex offender to the President's Council of Sports Nutrition and Fitness, which will give initiatives to children. What is happening? How can that possibly not be something that everybody comes out and says, whoa, this is fucked up? There is no defense of that. There are hundreds of other NFL legends that you could have put on this council if you really wanted to, that aren't sex offenders and shit. It's crazy.
I swear that this man is reading my mind. This is everything that I said yesterday during my live stream. I said we could have put anybody else in the NFL, but we had to put this guy in there. That's so weird. Listen, it'd be great if he had watched my video, but I don't think he did because, he's too much of a big YouTuber. But let me just say this. Oh, my God. He's saying everything that I said yesterday.
It's like he goes out of his way to find pedophiles and be close with them and give them positions of power. It does feel like he gives preferential treatment to pedophiles. He's moving Maxwell to a cozier, more low-security prison in Texas for some reason that's not being disclosed. He's got Lawrence Taylor now as part of this president council. It's absolutely unhinged. I had to talk about it. Sorry, I've been yapping quite a bit about it now, but it is incomprehensible. Like, to a sane society, this would be unforgivable. But it's just still unfolding in front of everyone's faces, and some people are just so brainwashed and lost that they accept it and just move on like it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. Like, all of the evil people that were on the Epstein client list are still getting away with it with no punishment. And the only person who has faced any punishment at all for being a co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, is maybe going to be receiving a pardon. What the fuck? Anyway, I'll stop blabbering for now. That's really about it. See ya.
I like Penguins. Shout out to him. Let me put a like on that video. It is getting worse. He's been on the internet forever, hasn't he? Hold up. Because a lot of it's like commentary and gaming, but he's been in here. Yeah, he's got 6.7 thousand videos. He joined in 2007. Oh my goodness. He's been here forever. Y'all, I don't know, man. Yeah, I like him. But I think my hair is longer than his. He's been on here forever. I think when it started in 2000, I don't know when YouTube started. So, you said we can sit here and talk about it for hours. Nothing's gonna change without action. You're right. We can sit here and talk about it for so long. Anyways, I just wanted to point out just the craziness. We talked a lot about it yesterday, and it really did piss me off yesterday. I didn't even log in for a while. I was at the airport. And I was like, this is just so much to even go into. Anyways, guys, he was 12 when he started? Damn. Wow. Anyways, something better needs to happen. And it's not even like him. It's both sides. Like, I don't know, man. I don't like both sides. I'm just letting you know. You guys know I don't cater for one side. I don't like both sides. I don't. It's the system that we have in place. It's not making sense, and it's set up for people to get away with stuff, in my opinion. I feel like we got to do better, but like just watching this shit just play out is just so crazy to me. Yeah, and I know that I'm not the only one who feels like that. It feels very sad to see it. You know what it reminds me of? Yeah. That's right. I'm not either side. It's what he's doing. Period. I agree. I agree too. Kind of like, you go to school, right? And maybe you guys might relate a little bit, right? When you hear about all this stuff happening. You go to school and then you kind of have to wonder, what the hell was all this for anyways? If this is the kind of stuff that you can't even change. There's so much red tape in between. We could talk about it all day, but like we have to go vote. We have to do different things and whatnot to make things like this happen. But I think for me, it's like I'm at this point in my life where I'm so tired of playing nice. Get tired of playing nice. I've been playing nice all my life because I've had to move around. Yeah. How do you change it? A lot of people don't know how. Absolutely. We can't give up. That's for sure. So it's just sad. The Mexican with the purple streaks. That's right. I do wonder if mine is longer though. Anyways. Let me stop. So I will let you guys go. I still have to edit. I got some videos I got to work on. Hopefully pre-recorded, but I am going to stop because I got to go and take baby Bunny out. She deserves to go out today. You don't have to copy me. You're going to get in trouble along with me. There you go. We've only just begun. Yeah. Yep. We have to do what we have to do. That's all we can do. I will let you guys go. I'll see you guys later. I don't know if I'll be live later tonight. I'm debating, but I'm not really sure. It's the weekend, so I got to go and hang out. Yeah, baby Bunny, we've got to go. Where do you want to go? Where? Shopping? I got to buy a sketchbook for the middle child for school supplies. I don't want to go. You want to go buy a sketchbook? You want to go shop? She says shopping. Shopping? What do you want to shop for? You want shopping? Okay, we're gonna go shopping. Emphasis on the ping. Shopping. Y'all are amazing. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys later on. Bye, guys. Hit the like button. All right. Bye, guys.